Hello everybody! Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This is Ria Luz sa Buhay Buhay sa Amerika, right at home. And I am so blessed to be surrounded by this amazing group of High Noon, pioneers and movers and shakers of High Noon, which we are blessed to have the director and community outreach and project content developer, Mr. Andrew Love, right here out from Indonesia, right, Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm in Indonesia. I'm from Canada. I live in America, but I travel a lot.
Yes.
Complicated, but that's the modern world. And I just have to say, I'm definitely not the director. That's Sammy Uyama. I do the speaking and I tell the branding story, the narrative of High Noon. But yes, very great introduction, and I love you and thank you.
Thank you. I love you, Andrew Love. With your name alone, it already tells us what is our topic today. The topic today is purity and fidelity on a pornified culture. It's very heavy to hear, right? But because of our uncle and our big brother here, Kuya, Pierre Bourgard, who became an instrument to getting our dearest Andrew Love into this segment. And we have also Ms. Yongyo Batino, all the way from East Coast. Thank you so much, Yongyo and Kuya Pierre. Please greet our audience tonight.
Hi, everyone. Welcome from Montreal. And I just want to say, I love the Philippines.
We love you too, Kuya. By the way, Kuya Pierre Bourgard is married to a Filipina from Isabela, right, Kuya?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Isabela State, yes.
And I noticed you were wearing a Barong Tagalog.
Yeah, nice Barong Tagalog. I bought it in the Philippines.
Yes.
Yes.
And Yongyo, did you greet your mom today?
Oh, hi, Mom. And hello to everybody watching.
So we got 2 Canadians and 2 Filipino in this broadcast. Yongyo is a Filipino-American, pure Filipino, but she's born and raised here in America, right, Yongyo?
Yeah.
So please help me as we go along, as we share the topic on purity and fidelity on a pornified culture. Why are we talking about pornography on this issue? Is because, as I was mentioning earlier, this is a very important topic, especially for us Filipinos, because I was just Googling today on I did not go to Pornhub, which is the largest website for pornography. But I found out from internet, Inquirer.net, it's a Philippine newspaper, that Filipinos rank #1 in the world for the most time in spending time in this particular site. So that only shows, and it saddens me as a Filipino, because I know the danger of pornography, not only for us adults, but nowadays it's more and more younger generations of people are going into this site. So Andrew and Kuya Pierre and Yongyo, please start from here. And what is High Noon doing to create this purity and fidelity on this pornified culture? Please enlighten us.
Well, I'll let Andrew, as the content developer, answer that.
Okay, yeah. So High Noon was basically, it's a nonprofit organization, and we have our staff actually just grew. For a while, we only had a couple staff, but we have volunteers from around the world, including Jungho here. So we have branches all over the world, but it started out as an organization that just wanted to help people understand what pornography is doing to us, what it's doing to us as individuals, what it's doing to our families, our communities, society in general. And so that's how I started. Is I started going around America at first, and then we've gone around the world at this point. But quickly we realized that people were very open to hearing, because pornography affects us all very much. It affects our culture, and like the movies that are made, what we think is okay and not okay, politics, everything. It's affecting everything. So people were like, okay, great, we understand it's a problem. What do we do? So then we turned into not just an awareness organization, but a solutions organization. And what we found is that pornography is so prevalent in this era because we're disconnected, because our families don't live together, because people are moving around, because people are lonely, and because there's nobody to educate them about sexuality in a true sense. Sexuality is meant to be about love and other people. Pornography teaches you that sex is not about love, and you can just be by yourself, and it completely flips everything that healthy sexuality is about. And so, we really have been investing so much in helping to build communities to become what we call radiant blessed couples, or radiant families, which is people who are so connected to real love and real sexuality that they don't have space for the fake stuff, for the destructive stuff. Okay. So there's so many reasons why pornography is unhealthy, and we can get into some of that. But really what we've discovered is the solution is connection. The solution is, you don't want your kids to suffer, reach out and help them, because without somebody guiding them through this dark forest of the internet, they're going to get lost, and there's going to be somebody guiding them down some very dark paths. And so our job as parents, and also as community members, as brothers and sisters and aunts, uncles, is to look out for our people and to provide not only love and guidance and support, but especially an example. Because if they say, okay, so porn's bad, well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative to something fake is something true. They have to see it, though. You can't just tell them about it. So that's what High Noon has become, is we don't talk about anything that we're not working on ourselves. We don't think anybody should ever strive to be perfect, somebody without faults, but you should strive for a very high standard and surround yourself with people who want you to achieve that and will help you to do that. And that requires you to be honest and to share with other people. And there's a lot there, okay? But essentially, like, pornography is guiding people to a place of being lonelier than ever. And the solution is community. The solution is really being there for people in a way that humans haven't been able to. Because especially righteous people, religious people, idealists, they don't talk about sex, usually. The only people that talk about sex are the predators, the people who want to kind of sway, especially in this era. The loudest people are usually talking about totally fake sex, Hollywood, all this stuff. It's shouting at us. And then kids don't have an alternative. They have no other image in their mind other than what they're seeing. Okay? So in essence, that's what we're trying to do, is teach people what pornography is doing, but also give them an alternative. Not just here's a bunch of bad stuff, but also here's what you're missing out on, right? If all you eat is chocolate, your body's gonna get sick. And same with, that's what porn does, is it makes you spiritually sick, emotionally sick. But we want to show you, well, then what can you eat instead of pornography?
That's very, very good point, Andrew. And as I was just thinking of, how important it is for all of us to understand the value of our marriage, and as well as the value of sex especially in the Philippines, in the olden days, people prefer to marry a virgin. That is the most important thing, is you have to be virgin before you get married. And now the sad reality is the Filipino has a different, the modernization has caught up to the Philippines, and the sexuality is becoming more and more, prevalent before marriage. It's okay for them to have sex before marriage, or to live even without the marriage. And so
Yeah.
now with that, with what you just said, it helps us to understand how important it is now for us, especially this term talking about sex in an environment that is um, not a taboo subject, but a subject that should be taught as holy, a pure. So thank you for bringing that out.
Well,
One
can I?
more
Can I
thing. One more
Yeah.
thing Andrew should speak about is I believe they have a project to help parents speak to their children about sexuality and
Yeah.
to approach this. I think I heard that anyway.
You heard, you
Voice
heard-
TV said, well said, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So there is. I'm a part of an organization called High Noon. That's highnoon.org. You can look that up. But we also the same founders. This was a nonprofit that started by a couple that they have a bunch of kids of their own. They've been blessed in terms of like God has really given them financial abundance and all this stuff, and they are reinvesting all their time and energy into creating solutions, right? And another organization came out of High Noon, which is called School of Love. You can go to schooloflove.org, and that's really learning how to talk to your kids about sex. Because here's the thing, okay? Think about this honestly. When you grew up, every single person listening, you did not have a vision for your sexuality. We aren't even told that that's a possibility. What is sex to us? It's just we react to the world around us. Either it's a scary thing because our parents made us afraid, or we've had a bad experience. Many people have had bad experiences. We've been abused or whatever. Or you have, just this very renegade mentality where whatever I want, I should do, right? But it's not connected. Both of those aren't connected to visions. And so that's really at the essence of High Noon, is helping people form a vision for sex being connected to your highest dreams. Because look, we're in a world where people can be a president of the United States and have no control over their sexuality. They have a vision for the entire world, but not for their own sexual organs. I mean, it's a prevalent problem in politics. In religion, we have priests and nuns and of every religion that this is a problem. And it's because if you don't form a vision, you will fall for whatever is presented in front of you, or you'll just react all the time. And so if you don't help your kids form a vision, then they're just going to buy into the vision that is going into their eyes and ears every single day through media. But again, if you're just telling them what to believe, it's not going to work. It's like working on a vision that you yourself are building. My wife and I, we have 3 kids. Our oldest is 7, and we're already helping him form a healthy understanding of what is his penis, like let's not have any shame. This is God gave you that, but what's the purpose for it? Don't feel ashamed about things so that he's forming it in his own head and in his own heart. And again, if you don't have a vision, you'll just do what everybody else is doing, and you won't even know why. Even if it's not giving you a good feeling, you'll keep on doing it just because everybody else isn't, because you haven't created a vision for yourself.
Very well said, Andrew. But before you keep on talking, I really I want to hear you more. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that we are broadcasting live on 2 websites. We are live at Buhay Buhay sa America YouTube channel, which many of my friends, you could see that YouTube sign there, like Pornography TV, who just said, well said, we don't have an alternative. That's why kids is so very curious. Talking sex here in the Philippines is very taboo. They
Sure.
think they are a bad person or a maniac when you raise the topic. And another sister, all the way from UK, my sister Mech channel UK says, well, often you do things what their parents often practices. Kids get astray due to lack of discipline and proper guidance by their parents. So our topic is they're already connecting to our topic. We have many friends all the way from YouTube and Facebook that are watching us. So To all my friends in YouTube, thank you so much. Team Loyal, Team Hope, Team Kasolid, Team Appear, Team Bless Family, and Team Smile, and Team Kabisig. Thank you so much for joining me into this broadcast. And if you are available, please share it to your community. And as much as more people, especially our kababayan, should hear about this, that finally, as Proisky says, finally, we will not be talking as sex as a taboo, but as a way to express God's most beautiful creation of all. So,
Yeah.
Andrew, take it away.
Well, I don't want to. I mean, I will get possessed if I keep on going, so I have to be aware of that. But this is just so passionate because we're on this cusp of society can go to a really bright place or a really dark place. It's like nobody knows the future right now, but the people who have the clearest vision are the ones who are going to prevail. And because nobody has formed a vision for sex that included God up until very recently, the other side has been winning, the selfish side, the using sex as a way to enslave people rather than liberate people. That's what this is about. And it starts with us, okay? And building a healthy relationship. If you're a parent, the energy that you discuss sex and like when your kids have questions, and if they are comfortable with you, they will come to you. And if not, they're going to go to Google, they're going to go to their friends, and they're going to get just a plethora of misinformation that has nothing to do with love, nothing to do with a vision. And so it really starts with us formulating our own vision, whether you're single or whether you're married. So we have Jung Hyo here, who's I would love to hear from her because she's a young single person who grew up in a world where she was force-fed a certain vision for sex. And now she's creating her own vision based on God, based on something healthy, based on wanting a love that only gets better. And of course, if your love is only getting better, then your sex is only getting better in the future. But that requires you to do some work ahead of time. It doesn't just happen. And so she's doing that work now. And again, there's no training for young people to have healthy sex when they're married, because it's just like if you're religious, it's like, don't have sex, don't think about it, don't even pretend it doesn't exist. And then when you get married, good luck. And then like that's the worst thing that you can do. But that's what young people have been given. So I'd love to hear from her, if that's okay.
Yeah, I would love to
Yes,
share.
welcome.
Yeah, I guess. Well, first of all, I'm really grateful to High Noon and everything that I've experienced. I've been a participant of High Noon for about like 4 years, something like that. And just like looking back on what kind of person I was 4 years ago, just like character-wise, and also like in terms of my vision for my life, I want to say that I'm a lot more clearer, more optimistic, more hopeful, and a lot brighter. I mean, people already describe me as like a very positive and happy person, but recently, like people have just been saying like, "Wow, Junkyo, you're like brighter," and I really think it's due to like High Noon, and just listening to Andrew talk, I was like, "Wow, yeah, that's exactly what I experienced," because I do have like religious parents, and they, wanted, as me and my two sisters, we were kind of encouraged not to date, not to have boyfriends. And that's like a big thing in the Philippines, don't have boyfriends, you have to graduate college first, your education first. So it's like off the table. But my parents never really talked to me about like sex. I don't think I ever got the talk actually. So it was just like this mysterious, like off limits thing. And I guess my experience with pornography and like sexuality is that actually I wasn't even looking for pornography, but it found me like on the internet. I really like to read books. I was like a book nerd in middle school. So I just as I got older, eventually I got exposed to like more explicit, mature genre that I wasn't looking for, but just because of the culture that we live in today, you know, it came across to me. And when I started reading like stories that were more that talked about like relationships, it was kind of like exciting, like, oh, like wow, relationships. But then I didn't really know what to think of it. So I just continued, um and then also I remember that was also the time when me and my sisters got our own laptop. So we started watching TV shows that were like just as explicit, but in a visual way. So when I became a teenager, I was like bombarded with all this, like, all these messages coming from media, from books. And it was really confusing because my parents were saying, you know, don't have a boyfriend, don't think about boys, but then there's like these messages that, oh, you should be in a relationship, or, you know, these are what the cool kids are doing. So I didn't really know what to do. And it was just like very confusing. And then I guess that kind of like battle inside of me about like, you know, how do I have a relationship? What does a good relationship look like? Was really confusing because, you know, when boys started to like interact with me, I didn't really know what was right or what was wrong. But then I was getting like these exciting feelings of, oh, maybe this is like love, maybe this will be great. So it was always like going back and forth, back and forth. So High Noon was really great for me because it was like a community that I could be part of to really look deeper into myself. And I think that's what every single young person needs. Like, we need people to really like guide us and to help us like build the skills to actually become loving people, which is what we're like looking for. Like, in none of the stories or movies that I watched, like explained about how to build like a relationship, or even how to have like a relationship with yourself. It was just about like the emotions, about, you know, what you do with other people, but not really how to become a person that can like exhibit love, how to treat yourself well and how to treat others well. And I think that's what is really confusing about like sex today. Like, it's just about like what you can take from like relationships, but how to be like the person that gives. And I think that's what like relationships are really about. So I guess High Noon helped me to kind of like take 5 steps backwards with like thinking about all these things regarding like sex and love and relationships. But really how to first be like a person, how to be a person that I can be proud of, which is kind of, I think, what growing up is for. Like, it's like very fast forwarded with like the culture that we're in today. Like, people are pressured to be in relationships from middle school, or I guess like even younger nowadays. But a lot of times we don't know what we want or how to do that or what it should really look like. So in High Noon, there's like some programs that I did that asked me some really tough questions, but I think are important just for like life. Like, you know, what would it look like for you to really be happy? What do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to be proud of? And those were really good questions because it made me think about like, yeah, what kind of person do I want to be and how do I get there? Like, what do I need to be doing? So I guess like, how does that go back to like pornography? I guess like when, you know, you feel lonely or frustrated, you know, you want to feel like something. So I think like pornography is just like as a habit that prevents you from really digging deep and going. It kind of like, it's a band-aid for like the difficulty, or that's, at least that's what it was for me. And instead of like, you know, working on myself or reaching out to my parents or being okay with, or yeah, I guess it kind of like helped me to just like take the easy way out. And I looking back and reflecting, I realized it like limited my growth a lot. So High Noon kind of just, I feel like High Noon really helped me to unlock like the potential that I have to be who I really want to be, and it's actually quite exciting. I wish I had this experience earlier, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jungyo. That was very powerful and very brave of you to even share your story and being the voice of young people in sharing this. This is awesome that you have that courage within you to even come up. I was worried when I heard that you are coming. It's not easy to share information about yourself, and especially those in this especially in this topic. But we were talking earlier also about importance of sharing and educating our children as parents. And one of our sisters, all the way from UK, Mech Channel says parents should make sex education open and have a positive discussion about it with their kids. So thank you so much, Mech Channel UK and Froisky TV, all the way from Masbate, Philippines, says this is just a funny story based on my childhood. My friends and I very curious about sex, and our senior said that having sex without condom is so good. And the one wrong misinformation I have, imagine, he says, imagine many early pregnancy victims with that misinformation. Thank you so much for bringing that uh, story, Proisky TV. And for any one of you who are on the audience right now, please share with us your comment and your question so we can read to them. And maybe Andrew and Kuya Pierre can help us to navigate your question on this topic. And there is no wrong question, and there is do not be judged. This is not a judgment for all of us because there is no one in the world that has not seen a pornographic picture at all. So it's all in the internet, and
Yeah.
this is about time to. That's why it's called high noon, meaning no shadows. It's about time. I think the reason why pornography becomes more and more becomes bigger is because we never talk about it, but we do it. So this is the time we proclaim, we acknowledge that it is a problem, and shine the light on this issue. Right, Andrew? Kuya
Correct.
Pierre?
You get it. You're our new spokesperson. I love it.
Mhm.
I would love.
One analogy about pornography is that we're like frogs that have been put in a pot of cold water, very comfortable. The heat has been going up slowly, slowly, slowly. And now it's reaching boiling point. We're just about to be cooked and we're not even realizing it. So pornography is a big, big problem. And you just quoted about the Philippines. We know that it's sad, but it's all over the world, including the Philippines.
and and you're so right because nowadays because of the pandemic, I was mentioning earlier, we are now in this pandemic with the COVID, but this pornography has been in a pandemic even before COVID. And
Right.
with COVID, it becomes even worse because of the accessibility. And now everybody has a phone, everybody has an internet access, and you don't have to go buy a magazine, but it's right there in your phone. So the accessibility, and even young children are becoming uh, touching this and seeing this,
Yeah.
and that's the hardest part. So it is affecting so many people, and unless we put a stop and saying, you know what, this is enough. And thank you for High Noon for bringing that idea to us. I actually saw in your website, it says create heavenly intimacy over couples, overcoming porn to create powerful couple and families to create a better world. And that is an amazing discovery that there is such thing as this organization. So tell us, how did it who are the people behind this organization, Andrew?
So yeah, there's a couple from Seattle or just south of Seattle.
Yeah.
They're called David and Mitsue Wolfenberger. Have many children, and Uncle Dave, I call him Uncle Dave. He has a business where he gets crabs and then he sells them to, he sells, and it's been doing very well. People really like crabs apparently, and so they were kind of known for their wealth. But honestly, I've never met a couple more powerful in terms of like how united they are with each other, but also with God, and how humble they are. They're the most humble people I've ever met. And their goal, Uncle David, by the way, is much more enthusiastic than Aunt Mitsue about this, is to really give away their wealth so that they've given away all their blessings to other people. And there's many problems in this world, obviously.
Yes.
I'm in Bali right now. If you go to the beach just a few hundred meters from me, there's pollution everywhere. The oceans are a disaster. It's being overfished. There's a lot of things that you can focus on. But what happens is human beings who don't know their value find it very difficult, if not impossible, to value anything else. Okay? And our value is given to us by God, not by the government, not by wearing a cool shirt or anything, right? And so deeply embedded in our value is where we came from and where we're going. We came into this world because of sex. You can't deny that.
Yes.
We still don't have any aliens that I know of. I don't know. But even aliens probably had sex. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Whatever. But you came into this world because of sex. It impacts your love, your lineage, and your life in so many direct ways. And so if you don't have a sense of value in this area of your life, it's really hard to feel like a person of value. And this is what we're seeing. This is a massive problem. And this is what the Wolfenbergers really drove them to start this organization, is they can see that at the heart of all these problems is a lack of connection between humanity and God, and how the wall between humans and God in this era is pornography, undeniable. And so we went to this huge Christian summit on pornography. We all learned is my Wi-Fi going? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're getting curly sound, but thank you so much. That's a powerful introduction of this wonderful couple. Thank you so much to them for bringing financing High Noon, and especially I see a name that I always heard from Uncle Pierre. Kuya Pierre mentioned Annalay Patindal.
Yes.
Annalay C. Patindal. And can I mention this, Andrew, while you're buffering? She says, sex may be a prohibited topic in many Filipino homes due to beliefs, values, so that makes it more challenging to parents, especially that they too didn't talk about it in their younger years. But it's not only confined in the Philippines. It is prevalent even in other countries, as sex is surrounded by different social norms and religious restrictions. And as my sister, Mech Channel UK says, the first time I've seen pornography, I felt like I've lost my innocence due to my upbringing back in the Philippines. We never even allowed to mention about it. Hence, I educated my kids. So this is a really good topic, because finally, Filipinos are allowed to speak about sex and how we can value sex into this world. And thank you, Andrew Love and Kuya Pierre Bogart, for bringing this topic to us, for sharing this information. And I hope that many more of our kababayan can have the ability and courage to share their wisdom into this topic as well. So, Andrew, you can continue now.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to mention too that the Wolfenbergers, I mean, they started by wanting to donate without anybody knowing who they were, like anonymous. But eventually, what became an equal contribution is their example that they were leading. And they really lead by example. And that's what High Noon strives to do, is that we have 5 virtues, okay? The 5 virtues of High Noon are honesty, accountability, integrity, grace, and courage. Because what we've seen, honesty, accountability, honesty, being honest with yourself, with God, and with the people around you. Accountability, which is telling people your hopes and your dreams, a real person, telling God, of course, and yourself, but telling other people your hopes and your dreams, and also when you fall short, when you make mistakes, and not being ashamed of them, because that shame keeps you chained to the past. You cannot move forward if you're stuck reliving past shame. Honesty, accountability, grace is learning how to receive grace, receive forgiveness if you make a mistake, and also give grace to your children, to your spouse, to yourself, to the people in your life. Letting them experience forgiveness. Okay? And then integrity, learning how to say, I'm going to do this, and then to do it. And then courage. Courage allows us to do all these other things. You can't be honest without courage. You can't make plans for the future without some courage. If like I want to break free from porn, that takes courage to really tackle this. So that's what we've morphed into. That it started with one couple, and then they hired a director, then they hired me, and then now it's a worldwide movement. And there's nothing, and Uncle David always loves expressing the fact that there's nothing special about him, there's nothing special about the couple, and that God can work through anybody. So long as you are clear and you don't force your opinions, you just embody the truth that you believe, God will work through you in miraculous ways. And so through this one couple, they've impacted thousands and thousands of other people and helped countless marriages, my own marriage, how I raise my children. It's really amazing. So one thing to note, if you can comfortably talk about sex, the good stuff and the difficult stuff, with God at the center, then nothing that you cannot talk about. Because I've met people that have told me things that they've never told anybody else. And I've known them more than friends that I've known for 20, 30 years. Right? I can know somebody in 5 minutes because it's like, if you can talk about the dark stuff, then you can talk about anything, the good, the bad, anything. It's really, really powerful. But if you hide in the shadows, people never know you, and God can know you. You can never know yourself. So High Noon's really about getting the stuff out of you so that the light can shine in you and through you. But God can work through you if you're holding on to this darkness.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I remember our founder, Reverend Sun Myung Moon, spoke about High Noon is living without shadow. And I think really being aware of our sexuality and our promiscuity or whatever that we have done in the past, and proclaiming and letting people know I have made a mistake. And that is how we can really get rid of that shadow or that deep things that we hide. Because once we acknowledge it, then Satan cannot go back and claim you again and again. So I think our Kuya, big brother, uncle Pierre Burgard has very great topic as well to share with us on the issue of how we can also, as a society, can prevent these issues. So
yes, but before I talk about that, I want to say what Andrew just said, that when you can talk about those dark things, you can break through and create an amazing connection. It's really incredible. And here we are, me, Andrew, and Jung-hyo. We're literally 3 generations. I could be Andrew's father. I'm old enough, I think. Yeah. And I could be. I could
starts.
be Young Ho's grandfather. I'm old enough, but I don't feel any generational gap because we're just humans. You know, we're just humans fighting to live, to be truly human. And I feel that sense of connection. And that's what it's all about, because we say addiction grows in isolation and dies in community. And another saying is that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. So those are favorite sayings. They're so true. And I want to commend Mek for her comment. She said, when I first saw pornography, I felt like I lost my innocence. So that's what pornography does. It hurts our innocence, or another way to explain it, it takes away our natural modesty. As children are born naturally modest. And the definition of modest is freedom from vanity, boastfulness, ostentation, or showy extravagance. We're meant to be modest and connect with this kind of spirit with one another. So the subject I want to talk about is protection of our children. Our children, if we really understood how harmful pornography is, we would react the same way as when we see our child trying to run across the street. We would jump out of our seats and say, what's going on here? Careful, it's dangerous. But they're going on their devices, on their smartphones, and they're encountering very harmful stuff. It's very, very harmful. And we are not aware enough of it. If we were, as a society, we would already have controls on the internet to prevent children, but it's not there. However, there are UK passed a law in 2017, France this year, Poland, Germany. Just today, I learned Denmark placed a law. September 30th in Canada, there's a law that was presented in the parliament. And South Africa has a law as well, but not one country has a law that has been put in force yet, because it's very complicated. There's privacy issues. There's so many concerns that slow down the process. But we're hopeful that Canada will succeed, and I'm involved. That's why Ria, which we love, right? Thank you, Ria. You're fantastic. We love you so much. Has been putting the website controlporno.org. So for Canadians here, go there and sign the petition, write to your senators, because even though the law has been presented in Parliament, it's a very long process, and many laws end up going nowhere. That's the reality of politics. And politicians, you know, they have one priority first, foremost, it's to be reelected. So if they don't hear from people that they really care about this, they may just ignore it and focus on something else that they're talking to them about. So please go to the website, sign the petition, write to your senator. There's two very easy steps. It just takes a few minutes. But before I continue further, I want everyone to really deep breathe profoundly, be very calm, and look at this 1-minute video we're going to share that Ria is prepared to share. And listen carefully to what is said. It's a short video, but it's packed with very, very important content.
Can you click it?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kuya, for sharing that.
So this video was just released yesterday. It's from Liz Walker. If Liz is watching, Liz, thank you so much. You're such a champion. Liz Walker in Australia. She even has an associate in Manila, and I'm hoping that the work of Youth Wellbeing Project, which has amazing programs for the youth. We don't have the website there. I'm sorry, I didn't give it to you, but Youth Wellbeing Project. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's in Australia, and they have these. There's Liz.
Liz,
Liz, she's such a champion. I love her to death. And it was her birthday, October 26th, I believe. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! And so that's what she asked for her birthday, is to share this video. So now she has it shared here on this internet radio platform. I'm sure she's very happy.
happy birthday, Liz.
So Liz is doing an amazing work, and she wants to help also in the Philippines, because she's close by. She's in Australia, well, relatively close, but you know, Australians, so many Australians go to the Philippines, and she has an associate there, and I think that something can happen to help to bring her amazing IQ programs, which are extraordinarily well done, and in those programs, it will help to teach children to get the proper understanding about the reality of pornography. She has an approach towards pornography, which she calls, oh my God, I can't remember it right now, but it's understanding all the various impacts on society of pornography. You have to understand its impact. You know, there's a movie by called Heart, Brain, World, that's done by Fight the New Drug, that addresses this, the harm to yourself, your health, the harm to relationships, that's the heart, and the harms to the world, which is society and human trafficking. So this brings up the issue of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a horrible thing. It's like slavery multiplied by 10 in a way. It's horrendous. And the thing is to understand how it's connected with pornography. For me, when I went to the Nkosi Summit 2018 and I heard testimonies, I was so struck by this. And this really, since, you know, I don't even look at pornography. I don't even want to look. I'm not interested, because I know that it's an incredible monster that's connected to those things. And I'm not accusing, I'm not upset with people who are attracted to it. We're confused. We live confused, and we have a natural desire as men to see the body of women. It's normal. It's not an evil thing. And sexuality is a beautiful thing, as Ria explained so well. So trafficking, to see it, to understand trafficking, to see what it is, to see stories, to hear stories, will change you. So I highly encourage you to look at the website, www.senditendit.com. Oh, the .com is not written there, but it's .com. And seeitendit.com. This is from a friend that Andrew knows well, because he interviewed him. On High Noon, you're going to see a podcast with Patrick about human trafficking. And I encourage you to go to his website, See It, End It. If you see stories of people who were trafficked, it will transform you. It will impact you. It will get you to empathize. It will get you to understand that many women, trafficked women, are filmed, and it ends up on porn sites. When you're looking at pornography, you don't know the reality of the person you're looking at. It may very well be a person that was trafficked. Maybe that was raped. It can be a child. Pornhub, that's why there's a trafficking hub campaign, because Pornhub does not verify the age of the people who end up on the porn sites, and do not verify if they consented to be there. This is absolutely horrible, and there are criminal cases being prepared against Pornhub. And I hope that things have to change, because right now things are not healthy. Things are very bad. A lot of people are suffering. So please, seeitendit.com. See it, end it.
Endit.com. And that's why it's enough. It's enough. right?
So again, go to Canadians that are here, go to controlporno.org. Ria put the website, sign the petition, write a letter to the senator. Let's Canada show the example and help our poor brothers and sisters in America, because in America, Senator Orrin Hatch has been the champion trying to put a bill in the Senate, but he was, by his legal advisors, tell him not to do it because it would not pass in the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court has changed quite a bit. They're going to retry again, and we need people to push this. We need champions, but so far, Democrats and Republicans haven't done it. So Americans here, if you know Canadians, tell them to make Canada push it forward. Go to controlporno.org. And for those who are Americans, you can also go to enough.org. Enough is enough. Like Donna Rice, the owner of Enough says, enough is enough. And she does great work. There are other organizations in the States, but that's a good organization. And so let's see some change. Thank you very much for everyone listening and all the great comments. It's fantastic.
Yes, and thank you so much, Liz Walker, for posting Trafficking Hub website where we can do a petition. Actually, I did petition. I signed that petition today to make sure that we can. The more people petition Trafficking Hub petition, this Trafficking Hub petition site, the more of us who sign in and say, let age be verified before they can even enter to this website, it will help so much. If if an 18-year-old has to be, or people has to be ID, check their ID for buying cigarette, alcohol, or going to the club, why can't they be verified if they have to go to this website? So then we can protect our young children, because nowadays with the accessibility of this phone, they can, even though without them knowing they're typing the website, they can access it accidentally. And that is the hardest part, when young children can access that hardcore pornography, or even just that thing that they should not be seeing at a young age.
And I'm
yes,
hearing Liz is shouting all the way from Australia. I said, show my chart, show my chart. She has a chart that shows how age verification would work, because people say it's not doable and so on. Please see her chart. It's on my website, www.controlporno.org. At the bottom, it says how does age verification work. And that chart is always updated. It's linked to her website, Youth Wellbeing Project. That's where it's linked from. So it's always updated. So it's really showing how it will work. And all the top leaders, Liz is in contact with John Carr from UK, Murray Perkins, you name it. All the experts in the world, they know her. She's known. She's very sharp. And so I encourage you to go there. She also put something about critical porn analysis. That's a word I couldn't remember. Some people say we need to have porn awareness or porn education, something like this. She is totally opposed to that. People say you have to show young children how to look at porn so they can be educated. I don't remember the term. She talks about critical porn analysis, which is understanding all the impacts of porn.
thank you, Liz Walker, and thank you, Kuya Pierre, for pointing this out to us, and for all our viewers who are still with us. Send your comment below, send your question, and we'll be mentioning to our panel. And Romina, all the way from Arizona, says, thank you guys, you got me in tears. Thank you so much, Romina, for joining us. And I think the more people talk about this, the more this porn can be less powerful, because we give them the power because we don't talk, and we don't allow others to know about this issue. But when we bring this to light, when we bring the light on this issue, that's why it's perfect name, High noon, no shadows cast when it's high noon. That's why I think Reverend Moon is so smart. He's the only religious leader who actually talks about the value of sexual organ and importance of sex is not just for the pleasure, but it is for procreation and for the lineage to come. The value of love, lineage, is the most powerful thing. And when I was laughing earlier when you said crabs, because with 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 the rise of pornography, there's so many sexual STDs that came to the world, and so uh, I actually laugh, but crab is another term for an STD, and
Oh yeah.
thanks God to our to the beautiful couple of Uncle David Wolfenberger, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Thanks to them for financing the high noon and sharing their uh, resources to empower others to get rid of this this thing that's slaving all of us. So, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. I know that you are very busy. You are moving in
Higher
with the speed
places.
of light in Indonesia, and
We move once a month, so no big deal. That's just
so
that's our
please
life.
come to Philippines
Okay.
because you are very much needed in the Philippines,
Move
especially.
here,
Yes, look
right
at that.
here. Great place.
Yeah. Kuya Pierre is he even wears a Filipino barong Tagalog today because
And you forgot to speak about Harana.
yes, and you were mentioning before this episode, he actually talks of tell tell that to the Filipinos, Kuya Pierre. You mentioned about the Filipinos are like spies into this world
Yeah,
that
what I was trying to say is that the Harana tradition should be revived in a modern way. It's about heavenly romance, about like we talk about radiant couple of intimacy. So courting in a heavenly way, in a beautiful way, and this tradition can be revived in the Philippines, and overcoming the pornography will help in doing that. And then the Philippines can be truly the spice of the world, because spices is something you put in small quantities in all kinds of foods. And we know the Philippines are everywhere on planet Earth. So they can change the flavor of our planet. I believe that the Philippines has that potential to do that.
thank you. That was wonderful of you to to appreciate Filipinos, and we love to know that coming from a Canadian who is married to a Filipino from Isabela, Ate Amelia, you're watching. Thank you so much for being there, protecting. She's praying upstairs. I know. she,
But I want to say the reason why I thought of Harana is because I saw Esther, the mother of Young Ho, being sung a Harana by Eddie, her loving husband. And he sings a song to her, and halfway through, he can't continue. He's choking with emotion. And I was so impressed. I says, that's what, and then I found out about Harana. So I don't know who told me.
yes.
So Harana.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. And harana is a very old tradition in the Philippines where a man proposes to a woman his love for this woman by serenading a woman with a song and confessing that love, pure love, because before they can even get to the house, they have to sing and profess this love in front of the parents while the parents are watching also from the window. So they cannot go inside the house without getting through the parents first. And I think that is the thing. We should, you're right, we should revive Harana maybe next time we will have an episode with singers into this broadcast.
Yeah,
And
well, I actually asked someone to redo the song Havana with the word Harana. Let's see if that can happen. That's such a nice tune, but the words are not the greatest, unfortunately.
see, JL Ardala's blog said, "Thank you, sir, for that word." See, I told you, Filipinos would love to hear that you appreciate us for becoming the spice. That is the challenge for all of us Filipinos. Become the spice of this world. Not only, as Jesus said, be the salt of the world. This time, not just salt, but be the spice. Because being a spice will really make life even more interesting. Being salty is not enough. Add spice. That's why Filipinos are number one. Not, I hope, not only in becoming the number one ranking in visiting this porn site, but let's change it. Let's make the Filipinos to be the number one in bringing down this porn site. I see Anale, si Patindal, Harana, and Balak. She is, I heard from you, Kuya Pierre, that Anale si Patindal is one of those Filipinas who are so amazing, working tirelessly in the front line right now against pornography. So
Against human trafficking in Cebu area. And LA is doing fantastic work.
So someone we should know, Analay si Patindal. Thank you so much, Analay. And Mac Channel UK says, all this bad happening in the world right now is just a sign of we're living in the last days of wicked. Satan and his demons are busy inciting people to do ungodly and worldly things. And this is the time we should put that to the end. And so, Andrew Love, we need you to bring that love everywhere. Please come. Please.
Andrew Love.
I don't have to bring it. It's already there. I don't bring love with me. It's everywhere all the time. We just need to plug into it. When we stop distracting ourselves from all the things that we're afraid of and we face our fears, that's when love comes. That's when our power comes from somewhere outside of us. That's when we get the power of the Holy Spirit, all this stuff, but you don't get it when you're afraid, when you're hiding stuff. That's when you start dying. We have to constantly feed ourselves the power of God's love, and it needs to flow. And it can't not flow if you are allowing yourself to fill yourself up with all this fake garbage. And porn is the enemy of love, absolutely. So the love is already there. Everything you need is already there. You just have to live the 5 virtues of high noon, and God will work for you in miraculous ways. I'm telling you, there's nothing special about anybody in high noon except for the fact that we won't give up on fulfilling the standard that we have set for ourselves, for our own love and for our own sexuality. And we support each other in doing it. We sometimes make mistakes, and we tell each other in high noon. There's no secrets that we have from each other. My wife knows everything about me, too much about me, because there's no secrets, there's no shadows, there's no darkness, anything, and that's how we've been able to survive, so you don't need anything, you have everything. You just start practicing. These virtues are like muscle groups. Honesty takes work. You have to practice it every single day.
Honesty.
Accountability. You need to practice accountability every single day. Even when I want to be in better shape, you got to tell somebody. I want to stop watching pornography, I got to tell somebody. I want to tell my wife I love her more. Tell your friend you're going to do that so that they can be like, hey, did you do it? Right? You got to tell people the things that you want to do in life. Honesty, accountability, integrity is learning how to say things out loud and do those things. And then grace, learning how to receive it and give it. Even when your kids say, Mom, I watch pornography, that you say, thank you so much for telling me. You don't say, are you crazy? That's the worst thing you could do. You just give them God's grace. You don't have to accept their mistakes, but you have to accept them. That's our responsibility. And your spouse and everything is learning how to love them regardless of their mistakes. That's how God can really flow. And then last is the courage to do all those things. All of these are muster groups that need to be practiced every single day. But when you do, there's nothing that can stop you.
Thank you so much for this powerful tips and powerful message. So how can people get involved with High Noon?
Yes, if you want to, so we, like Pierre and I, we have complementary homework for you. One is, we are a part of a society, and what happens in our society affects us, but also what happens inside us impacts our society. So you need to, if you really want to make a difference, then both need to be tackled. So the first thing, Pierre has the age verification. Please go to that. Please understand that it should happen in every country. No kid who's 5 years old should accidentally stumble into watching people have all sorts of crazy sex. That's the worst thing that they could pop. We should be able to block them from accidentally seeing porn, and governments should be responsible, but they're not. So there's the externally, that's really important, but also internally, go to highnoon.org and start consuming your content and learning how you can embody freedom and liberation and make healthy sexuality a priority in your life, so that sex becomes something of liberation instead of something that enslaves you and that concerns you, that worries you, that you're afraid of, but rather something that gives you power, something that brings you closer to your life goals. And that, when you're single, we have training. If you want to help a family member, we have training. It's all free. We also have a community online that you can join where we can help you. And we're starting to work more closely with the Philippines, actually. We just had a meeting with a bunch of different leaders in the Philippines. So it's already starting to happen. Thanks to Pierre, actually. Pierre's been instrumental in that happening. So there's internal work that needs to be done and external work, and they're symbiotic. They're both equally important, and one cannot be accomplished without the other.
We appreciate you.
So Imelda is saying Ninong Pierre. It's not Serge, it's his wife. She's from Ilocos, but she's living here in Montreal.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much, Serge or Imelda Bumnir. Thank you for joining us all the way from Montreal. And thank you, Andrew Love, for sharing this very informative topic. Thank you so much, Yung Yo, for your bravery and for your great work in this field. And may God continue to bless you. And I heard that you are in your college at this time, and also whatever you desire and whatever you plan in the future, God is with you, and God loves you so much. And
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy your coming to Buhay Buhay sa Amerika, yung yo.
Yeah, I should come back
Yes,
and watch.
be my co-host next time.
Maybe she can say some final words to the young people watching.
Yes. Do you have any final word to the young people?
Yeah, I really hope that as young people, we can really like figure out what we have to offer to the world. Because I believe that every single person has something special inside, but a lot of times like we're held down by like fear or courage. And I'm kind of getting older now. I'm like 23, and I realize like, wow, time passed by so fast. So the time that we have when we're young is really important. So like what Andrew said, like what we consume, how are we bettering ourselves? It's a really important thing to think about. I guess that's on my mind because as I'm in college, a lot of my like classmates, I hear what they do on the weekends, and sometimes like, I mean, I'm not going to be the one to tell them like, oh, don't do that, but it's like kind of sad when I hear people, drinking their weekends away, or just like not really being the best people that they could be, or like nurturing the talents that they have. So if you're like watching, I hope that you can feel like really empowered, and also believe that you have something inside of yourself that can really brighten up this world. And yeah. if you ever want to talk to someone, I love talking to people, so you can just look me up.
Thank you so much, Young Yo, for coming to this Buhay Buhay sa America's topic on purity and fidelity in a pornified culture. I hope our audience gets some more information. Go to highnoon.org. And Andrew Love, please come back anytime. And Uncle Kuya Pierre, you are welcome to come back anytime to share more information on this topic. Maybe in another time we'll be able to share deeper understanding, because 1 hour is not enough to share this very sensitive.
Christmas time is a good time.
I'm sorry.
During the Christmas period is a good time. People struggle a lot at that time.
Yes. Well, I think anytime is a good time to
Any-
talk about sex in a heavenly way, because the sex has been spoken in many times in a taboo way, but this is the time to bring out the best of what is sex all about. If it is in heavenly law, it's in heavenly alignment, this is the most beautiful thing in the world. So thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate all of you for coming, and for all our friends who are with us in today's broadcast in Facebook and in YouTube. Thank you so much, and please continue to follow highnoon.org. And if you haven't subscribed to Buhay Buhay sa America, please like and subscribe and share this information to your community and to your friends, that there is hope. Pornography is not the solution, but high noon is the solution to bring light into this topic. So thank you so much for joining me, and please come back again.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Bye.
Thank you. So let's say bye-bye to our guests. And Hazel Lucky, thank you everyone, she says. So thank you everyone in Facebook and in YouTube.